Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing, topping our newscast. As Zika numbers rise across the United States, the Obama administration is shifting some funds from another feared virus towards Zika prevention, something that can help bolster the fight against Zika in the territory. Locally, the Department of Health continues vector control efforts and giving away free pregnancy kits for women to avoid the bite. News 2's April Knight has an update.
The White House recently blasted Congress for not taking Zika too seriously. In a recent press conference, the message to the Republican-controlled Congress is, fund Zika prevention now or pay the price later.
Republicans are going to look back on this time that they've had to act on the Zika virus and deeply regret it. Congress has completely abdicated their responsibility to follow through on a proposal that the administration put forward.
The Obama administration had asked for almost $2 billion for prevention efforts in February. Since that funding request has not been approved, the administration is repurposing nearly $600 million originally intended for use against Ebola. Congressional Republicans had advocated shifting funds and say they'll monitor the situation.
The administration announced that we would reprogram about $600 million to bolster the ongoing Zika response. We've consistently said that an available option was for the government was to repurpose some existing Ebola funds that would not undermine our fight against that deadly disease.
But according to White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest, with temperatures warming and mosquito populations rising, $600 million is not enough. In the territory, there are 13 Zika cases confirmed, 1 on St. Thomas and 12 on St. Croix. Zika reports on all 3 islands are still coming in, and lab results are still pending from the CDC. Vector control efforts are also ongoing in the homes of pregnant women who have had themselves tested for Zika. The VI Health Department is urging pregnant women to take advantage of the free vector inspections of their homes, as well as the free pregnancy kits. As of this week, 339 of those have been given out. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
CDC researchers say the mosquitoes that carry the Zika virus are found in a much broader range in the U.S. than first reported. That sexual transmission is more common and the impact on fetal brain development is much more serious. At-large Senator Armando Rocky Liburd found some support for his idea of stating a bottled water industry in the territory. During a meeting by the Senate Committee on Energy and Environmental Protection on Wednesday, representatives from Ocean Thermal Energy Corporation highlighted the economic and environmental value of bottling water in the Virgin Islands. According to Dr. Ted Johnson, Hawaii is already earning money from bottling desalinated seawater, selling them worldwide for as much as $5 a bottle. Senator Liburd has been advocating water bottling for more than a decade. The Bureau of Corrections recently held an evacuation fire drill, one, they say, of many more to come. Officials say it was a necessary training exercise that included the fire department and the VIPD at the Golden Grove Adult Correctional Facility on St. Croix. An exercise will also be held eventually on St. Thomas.
Many to come. We did this evacuation fire drill today so we can learn and together how to properly evacuate the inmates and staff in a safe and harmless way. It actually went pretty well. We have a lot to work on. This was a training exercise, but again, it's going to take some work.
We have to do these in order to make sure that when the actual time comes for an emergency that we are prepared. In the past, there's been some incidents that we had not been prepared for, and we're going to make sure that this does not occur in the future. It is part of the requirements for our settlement agreement, but it's not just merely for that purpose. It's for the purpose of the safety and security of our officers and inmates, staff, everyone that's involved.
As we reported on Wednesday, Governor Kenneth Mapp held a press conference on St. Croix announcing the departure of the first batch of police officers sent off to train with the New York Police Academy. The governor also announced the appointment of 2 judges to the St. Croix Superior Court, as well as addressed the Disney Corporation study on St. Croix tourism. NEWS2's April Knight has details.
Governor Kenneth Mapp is working on filling 3 judicial vacancies. In a press conference on Tuesday, the governor announced that he's reappointing Judge Harold Willox to the Superior Court on St. Croix. He's also appointing Frederiksted Attorney Jomo Meade to also serve on the Superior Court.
Folks know that Attorney Meade is in the practice of law, particularly in the area of criminal law. He, I believe, is one of the few certified practitioners on dealing with death penalty cases in the territory. He has an extensive background and education and training in law.
Governor Mapp also spoke on the recent study done by Disney Corporation, but said they're not releasing the report because it contains competitive advantage strategies for St. Croix. He also said they're not legally obligated to make the report publicly available.
The government of the Virgin Islands did not pay a dime for this study and this collaboration, so that document doesn't fall under the Sunshine Statute to force its release.
According to Governor Mapp, the territory's relationship with Disney resulted in additional offers by the company to assist the Virgin Islands.
In dealing with the shortcomings, building on the strengths, and really helping the business community, again, particularly on St. Croix, and I'm going to use their terms, not leaving dollars on the table.
The recent acts of terrorism in Europe could also push American tourists to stay close to home when vacationing, according to the governor, something that the Virgin Islands has to take advantage of.
Many persons who booked cruises in Europe are canceling them and looking for bookings in this region. That's a powerful opportunity for us in the Virgin Islands to position ourselves, position St. Croix as its own unique destination.
Reporting for NEWS2, I'm April Knight.
The nomination letters for Judge Harold Willox and Jomo Meade are headed to the Senate, which will review and possibly hear testimony from the nominees before taking action. Well, the top primary school spellers gathered at the BCB auditorium on Thursday for the Department of Education's District Spelling Bee. That's today. Third place went to Sheila Moria, second place Sokim Arnold, and the championship trophy went to Dax Chananair. St. Thomas Insula Superintendent Dion Wells Hendrington had a message for the spellers that regardless of the results, they are all winners.
We are extremely proud of your accomplishments thus far. It takes a lot to be here on this stage today. Y'all are showing me that you are brave, you're determined, and you are all super achievers. So no matter who may win today, in our sight, you are all winners, and we are extremely proud of you.
Labor Commissioner and entrepreneur Albert Bryan Jr. was the keynote speaker on St. Croix. The Man Up Male Empowerment Conference was held on St. Croix today, Thursday, at the Abbotsford campus St. Croix. Many young males were inspired at this 6th annual Man Up Male Empowerment Conference. Wednesday, it was held on St. Thomas. Young men attending the conference were able to meet in smaller groups. On Monday, junior high and middle school students met at BCB Middle School. Tuesday, senior high school students met at CAHS Auditorium. And Sherman Brown, founder and chief empowerment officer of AIM High International, was the keynote speaker of the Man Up conferences held on St. Thomas. Very well attended. The Virgin Islands Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Council and Lady Leaders, Inc. announced its collaboration to host a Sisters Wise Up. That was held today at the St. Croix Public Schools, public high schools. The Sisters Wise Up initiative is a character building and leadership development workshop for high school girls, providing critical information on healthy relationships, self-esteem, integrity, life mapping, and health and wellness, just to name a few. Students also had an opportunity to view The Hunting Ground, which is a documentary provided by DVSAC that features the challenges of campus sexual assault across the nation and the activism that young leaders have conducted to demand justice and reform. The sessions feature local women who are entrepreneurs and organizational leaders. Turn our attention overseas. Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are trading jabs today on the campaign trail, the latest sign that this race is tighter than ever. Diane Gallagher has more on how the bad blood is playing out in the national spotlight.
Their debate is officially next week, but the Democrats are waiting. On Wednesday, MSNBC asked Hillary Clinton about a Bernie Sanders interview with the New York Daily News.
The core of his campaign has been break up the banks, and it didn't seem in reading his answers that he understood exactly how that would work.
Sanders hit back.
She has been saying lately that she thinks that I am, quote unquote, not qualified to be president. I don't believe that she is qualified. I don't think that you are qualified if you get $15 million from Wall Street through your super PAC.
Now, the Clinton camp claims the former secretary never actually called the Vermont senator unqualified.
I don't know why he's saying that, but I will take Bernie Sanders over Donald Trump or Ted Cruz anytime.
But the change in tone could be an indicator of just how much is at stake. Sanders has the momentum, winning 7 of the last 8 contests. Clinton has the lead in pledged delegates. But 2 new national polls show the race between them may be tightening, which may mean that while the Democrats claim they want to play nice,
It is not the type of politics that I want to get in.
it could get even uglier.
But let me also be very clear. I'm not going to get beaten up. I'm not going to get lied about. We will fight back.
New York voters have their say April 19th. In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
And keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. Taking a look at the numbers there, we can see everything down. The Dow 174, NASDAQ 72, S&P 500 also down at 24. Coming up on News 2, with Zika on the rise and many rushing to the stores to buy pesticides, mosquito sprays, and more, health officials presented a conference on how to address pests with fewer or less toxic chemicals. Welcome back. Many hotel owners, hospitality workers, pesticide applicators, business operators, and the general public learned how to address pests with fewer or less toxic chemicals, as well as an approach called integrated pest management during a one-day conference on pest management at UVI on St. Croix. Attendees learned from the experts on how to reduce the use of pesticides and how to use sustainable solutions for pest control, as well as the health issues associated with applying pesticides. The Environmental Protection Agency hosted a conference on pest management this week. This conference was aimed toward educating hotel owners, hospitality workers, pesticide applicators, business operators, and the general public on how they can reduce the use of pesticides.
Most everybody in an urban environment has pests, right? And most of these houses get sprayed with pesticides. And the problem is most of these pesticide applications are not even necessary.
The conference featured pest control experts who shared ways to address pests with fewer or less toxic chemicals, as well as an approach called the integrated pest management.
IPM stands for Integrated Pest Management, which is an environmentally sensitive way to manage pests, where we're looking to minimize the impact on human health and the environment while having effective pest control. And basically it means not relying on pesticides as your first choice of tools.
First of all, take a look around the house and see if you have any doors that are open. Make sure there's no holes under the doors. You put some sweeps in there. Make sure that the pipes coming into the house are sealed.
Integrated pest management practices help prevent pests from becoming a threat by taking action to address the underlying causes that enable pests to thrive.
Most of us think of the can of Raid as the first tool to go to, but most people have screens in their house, and that is one of the original IPM tools. One of the old school ways to manage pests has been a bug bomb, or a total release fogger, they're called. And I know they're still used, and what that does is release insecticides into the air, and insecticides that stick to all surfaces. Children in where I'm from, New York, and here in the Virgin Islands have high rates of asthma.
If you go to the store and you want to buy something to kill something, you can buy rodenticides, insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides. And it says, do not use in kitchen. And there you are, spraying roaches in the kitchen.
The homeowner needs to be a little bit more informed and learn about the behavior and the biology of the pests they're trying to remove from their home. If it's a rodent or an ant or a roach, you know, if you know that the only reason they're there is because there's food somewhere in the pantry, or there's food in the kitchen, or there's water, or there's a dog food, if you remove those food sources, you may remove the roach problem without having to use that can of spray.
Environmental Protection Agency's Regional Administrator Judith Enck was joined by federal, state, and local officials and other experts to hold this free conference. Certified pesticide applicators were eligible to receive training credits from DPNR. Now, pesticides and sprays were some of the items mentioned as it relates to poison control. The Florida USVI Poison Information Center, Jacksonville staff, has been in St. Thomas this week for the center's annual Poison Center Awareness Trip to provide some free educational programs to several schools and healthcare organizations in the center's efforts to help keep the community poison safe. Health professional lectures have been held at Schneider Regional Medical Center and East End Medical Center, as well as education awareness for students. Today, Poison Prevention Week, school presentations were held at Lockhart Elementary School, and then on Friday, a presentation is scheduled at Wesleyan Academy from 9 to 10 a.m. and Health Professions Lecture at Schneider Regional Medical Center at 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. International Capital Management's upcoming Jazz in the Park music series is happening this Friday, April 8th. This installment will feature Virgin Islands raised Reginald Sinjay, who is described as one of DC's most talented and versatile trombone player. Here's more.
This particular installment is very special to us and very near and dear to our heart because we're bringing one of our own back home. Reginald Sinjay is based in DC. He's born in Dominica, but he was born and raised right here in the Virgin Islands. So we reached back to DC and pulled on his heartstrings, and he'll be playing his trombone, adding some Caribbean flair in the mix for sure. And we are very excited to really hear from him. He went through the BCB, so we are also excited to kind of tie together the show with the Bertha C. Bashulta Flambeau Combo and their jazz choir. So it's really kind of a homecoming of sorts that I think is going to make for a very exciting show. So we're very happy to bring him. And of course we have our traditional vendors row. We have our local authors village where you can meet and greet 4 local authors, purchase their books and get signed copies of their work. And just a wonderful opportunity just to mix and mingle, network, relax, and unwind at our wonderful park-like setting at Jazz in the Parks.
That was Karen Hughes of ICMC. Now, speaking of music, turn our attention to Carnival Corner. The First Bank Junior Calypso competition will be hosted on Tuesday, April 19th at the Lionel Roberts Stadium from 8 p.m. We want to introduce the students. 16 students in 3 divisions will be competing for titles in their respective divisions. And they're sharing with the community a brief insight into their various backgrounds on the First Bank VI Facebook page. Now, here are the contestants in the 2016 First Bank Junior Calypso competition. In the primary division, Jasiah Narcisse, Gladys Abraham, Shania Freeman, Ola F. Muller, Amari Phillips of Lockhart, Kayston Italia Roach of Lockhart, Kamari Dover of Yvonne Bosky, Arturo Lamota of the Tutu Church of God Academy School. Now in the intermediate division, Nakai Berkeley of Adelita Cancrine, Kenaya Maduro of Ola F. Muller, Abriana Gregory of Adelita Cancrine, Remoy Smith, Sherwood Gittins, and then we have the secondary division, Ajani Phillips, CAHS, Monet Green of CAHS, Janelle Hodge, and Tijani Jackson. Janelle Hodges of CHS, Tijani of Eudora Ken High School, Mary Alice Prosper of CAHS, and Maurice Hansby of CAHS. So all the best, kudos. Be sure to mark that on your calendar and go out and support the young Calypsonians. The Easter ticket $175,000 grand prize drawing was held earlier today. Are you the winner? Here are the winning top numbers.
The VI Lottery presents draw results of today's drawing on NEWS2. Here are the top prizes. Fifth prize for $20,000, 11476, 11476. Fourth prize for $30,000, 26818, 26818. Third prize for $40,000, 27228, 27228. Second prize for $65,000, 23306, 23306. And the winning ticket number for the grand prize for $175,000 is 10240, 10240. If your ticket number wasn't called, keep trying. One of these days, your number could win. The next drawing is April 21st. Play the VI Lottery and imagine the possibilities.
Good luck as you check those tickets. Be sure to stick around. We have much more straight ahead.